All right, mi gente, what's going on? How are you today? Welcome back to our coffee Q&A. It is, what is it, Tuesday, March 12th. How y'all doing? Welcome back to the show. Good to see you. I'm Jay here on the Ono Coffee channel, where every morning we do coffee questions and answers at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So how's it going, Mom? Good to see you. Kione, hello, aloha to you, man. How are you doing? Hope everyone's doing well. So today, our question for today, it comes from a guy who decided to ask anonymously. Why he wanted to be anonymous about it, I don't know. It's not like it's some kind of country. Maybe it is controversial, but basically he's saying, currently I am enjoying the V60 size 2. I've been thinking to get an original one. What would be you obviously he's not a native English speaker because the grammar is a little bit strange, but we don't get upset about that because you know what? When I speak Spanish, my grammar is horrendous. Horrendous. What would be you thought on origami? Does it produce different tastes in the V60? And what is a good USA website to get one if I like? Well, I do have some links down below, Anonymous, if you want to check those out on places to buy it. Is there really a better place than another to buy? No, I don't think so. I think, the links that I provide are Amazon links that have affiliate links so that, it doesn't cost anyone any extra money. It doesn't cost you extra money. But if people buy something, then I get a little tiny percentage. And, lately it works out to be like $2 a month. So I'm not buying a Ferrari with it. So let's get into it. We've got two different brewers. Now, be honest with you, I couldn't find the V60s that I have. Actually, they're in a storage facility right now in a different box. I thought the boxes that I brought here to the house had most of the different brewer styles that we use. But when I was looking at the inventory list, it's like, oh, okay, well, that's great. All of the V60s are in one box, and they're all in storage. So what I do have here today is the HARIO W60 that was designed by my friend Pete Licata. It's very similar in design. It's a little bit bigger overall, but it is almost the same. The big orifice here at the bottom. And that's really kind of what we're looking for to simulate is what is the V60 about and how is it really different than the origami, right? So I think in previous comparisons between the V60 and the W60, the orifice was the same. The orifice size was the same. And this is really where a lot of your issues with brewing will come with the orifice, right? It's how much restriction is on the flow of the liquid that's flowing through the device. So if we compare to something like nothing that I have available at the moment. Oh, here we are. Like if we compare to the Bee House, right? This is the Bee House brewer. You can see there's two small holes in this wedge-shaped filter, so it restricts the flow. Whereas the V60 or W60 has a much bigger flow, much bigger hole, so the flow can be much faster, right? I think that the ones that have larger single orificed holes are a little bit more difficult to brew with because you have to be a lot more precise. You have to have a lot more control over your water flow than with something like this that restricts the water. So you can kind of go coarser. You can be a little bit more messed up. You can make more errors on the coarser end of things with this and still get a nice brew because it's restricting how much water is flowing through it. Hope that makes sense. Anyway, but really, what are we looking at here? We are looking at these two brewers, and they are. I think that the origami is slightly larger hold. Like, let's see if I can get this to show. Yeah, you can see it here on this top-down shot. You can see a little bit of the W60's, ring inside the origami. So the origami is a little bit larger in that respect. So you get a little bit more flow through. Now, then there's the question of the ribbings, right? These are the ribbings. They're supposed to keep, the idea with these ribbings, they're supposed to keep the filters away from the sides so that so it doesn't seal up completely on the sides. I find that this is probably better in that respect than these little tiny ribs I see them all the time, just, the filter stuck up against it. So if that's really your purpose with it, I don't know if it's really going to do what you want it to do. But let's brew with it and see what we're going to get. We're going to measure out some coffee. So we're going to brew a cup coffee head to head on these two. Oh. There are always little technical details that plague any production. Today's being our burner has run out of gas. Is there gas in this one? Oh, here's one that has gas. Okay, we're rolling again. Just got to make sure we have hot water. Mark's with us. What's going on, Mark? How's things in Norwich? Good to have you. How's the weather? Getting better? I know that Keone's enjoying warm weather. We're getting to be almost 70 degrees here, which I can't really convert into Celsius. It's strange. I can think sometimes in Celsius, but I can't convert Celsius, right? Like when we're roasting, it's like, okay, 200, 215, and then it's trying to convert that to 400, 420. It's very difficult for me to understand that. Or conversely, like if I'm in Asia and people are like, oh yeah, 37. Oh, that's really hot. But does that really mean 95 or 98? I don't know. I just know how it feels. Anyway, I think it's probably about 21 here, right? I don't know. Anyway, so we're going to go and brew some coffee. So what coffee do we have a lot of? We should have a little bit more of this from Chariots, from my friend Simon Uchin. This is the Sippy Falls. Nice, round, roasty, chocolatey kind of coffee. Oh, it's been raining. Raining in the UK. I guess that's not surprising, huh? Well, hopefully it's not too cold then. All right, there we go. So that's going to be our coffee for today. And we're going to measure out and use our stuffs. So before we begin that, what we're going to do today we're going to have, even though I've been using the origami filters from Japan, right? The origami filters. So today we're going to use V60 filters from Japan, so that they're not the same exact filters, but they're going to be the same, the brand of each one, and hopefully that should give us some level of consistency. Now these are, I know there's a different, some people really like to talk about the differences in HARIO manufacturers. I don't really know that much about that. Because I don't really use these filters too often, mainly in our professional world. I buy Melita number 4 filters in bulk, and we just use those. Whereas these, these are specialized filters, right, for HARIO. But some come in boxes, some are and the people that are really into it, they really know what is the difference between the different filters and the manufacturers for those filters. And let's have a comparison, too, between the origami filter and the HARIO V60 filters. We're going to see that at least the way that there is a grain. Oops, sorry. Let me see that. There is a grain. There we go. That's a little bit better. There is a bit of a grain to them, right? I've tried to set it up so that the grains are matching, and they're all running in the same direction. But there is a little bit of a gradient difference. I think that the one from origami is a little bit more defined in the grain than in the HARIO. Does that mean anything? I don't know. They look like they're similar manufacturer, not the same, because you can see that the difference in the crimpings, right? The crimping is, maybe you can't see that. There we go. The crimping is a little bit more larger on the origami and smaller on the HARIO. Let's not mix those up. So as always, I like to just fold over the seam. I just think it sits better. And in my psychosis of operating, the seams always go to the handles, right? At Spur, we're very specific about what we do and how we train our staff, especially with things like this. We want it to be, like we teach them, we want the seam to fit with the handle. Why? Does it really matter? Perhaps not. But this way we try to build consistency in every step of the process so that, it becomes less of a thought for the barista, a little bit more routine, a little bit more rote, a little more automated. But also, I believe that this kind of consistency allows them to be more consistent in the way they produce their coffees and making a great quality coffee, you know, cup in, cup out. All right, so let's go with our scale here. Our brand new scale. We should zoom in a little bit more. It's so difficult not to have it zoomed in. We're going to go with our scale. Let's turn this back on. There we go. Making me a little bit nervous. And as always, 24 grams. I think we need to heat up a little more water. $23.6. Let's go a little bit more. Oh wow, that was a lot. Okay, 24.1. That will work. My contractor is calling me. Let me see what he says. I'm not sure who he's talking to. All right, let's get this grinder running. We're going to use our, you know, virtuoso. Okay, let's grind. Then we have to also measure another one. All right, 24.2 grams. Pretty much what we had the last one. Let's double check these numbers and see what we get. We're going to zero that out. Whoops. We're using the same grind as we did yesterday because I thought that worked out pretty well. 23.6, a little bit. All right, let's see where this goes. Maybe because we didn't do the slow thing. Again, we're going to fold over the seam. Now, on the origami, of course, there is no handle, so it doesn't really matter where you put your seam. Let's turn that on. $25 now. See, look at that. We're going to go down to 23 and add a little bit more. Okay, that'll be good. That'll give us more or less the same, you know, that's a danger with the origami, right? I'm so used to this being all one piece, right? Oops. I'm so used to this all being one piece that you could just do this, whereas this, you have to really be careful because it's not, if it starts to slip, like it's kind of slippery, it's just going to come completely out of your hand. Since it's not attached to the base, if I slip with this, I can catch it on the base. But this porcelain is not very slippery, whereas this resin can be quite slippery. Right? All right. So Mark says, interested in the origami dripper, have the V60, Orea V4 Mark II, and a Clever. I have not used the Orea, but I do have a Clever. The origami, you know, I know a lot of my friends were in the business were like, oh yeah, but you should get the origami. And I was like, eh. But when I was in Tokyo in June at the Tokyo Hand store, I was like, you know what, I'll buy one. They're pretty affordable there. Most everything is affordable in Japan. Where you think it's going to be much more expensive, it's actually rather affordable. Really kind of makes me irritated. All right, let's put this here. So let's build our frame. Okay, good. We're going to reset our timers. 0 that. Okay, we are good to go. We're going to get our water. We're going to take it just off the boil. Ouch. I have two different sizes of these boiling kettles. This is the smaller one, and it actually it pours a lot differently. Like it has a lot more splashing when I'm pouring. All right, so we're going to use the timer here as our main timer. 25 grams to saturate, and then 75. Ooh. We're just going to, oops. Okay, sometimes we're a little bit off. 77 or 78 and 79, not too bad. Now, again, we're just going to brew and just keep the water level relatively at the same height. We're going too fast. 108, 101. Let's let it settle out because we're only at 49 seconds. So we're pretty fast in our brewing. I probably should have made a little bit finer. A little bit finer would give us a little more retard. This is where I think the difficulty with these brewers comes in, right? It has such a big flow rate through the larger orifice that it's going to flow really fast. So you really have to control what you're doing. And just put a little bit, because here's the thing. You can put a lot, you can put whatever coffee and you can push it through and it'll go really fast. Like in the old days, when this all pour over brewing started, you know, and everybody was like trying to hit TDS numbers. Everyone's obsessed with TDS, right? It's almost as if though, as long as you have the right TDS, that it's a panacea. It's kind of like the 1836 thing with espresso. As long as you have the right number, it should be awesome. But that's not true. That's totally inaccurate. And even in 2006, 2010, that was completely like, you know, a falsehood. They got their VST meters and they were like, this is what it should be. It's 19 TDS. You're like, get out of here, man. You got no idea what you're talking about. You're just talking because somebody told you that's the right number and you're going to just talk about it. And so what companies would do, like Intelligentsia would do this, they did their pour over program. They put 44 grams for a 12-ounce cup. And they would run and gun it. They would just gun it, fill it up, let it run. Because at that ratio, they would get their 19 grams, their 19 TDS. And I was like, this is not craft. This is rubbish. This is rubbish. So we're 226. We're behind on this one. And I think that's probably just a fact that, you know, I'm pouring less in here, probably because I'm just trying to hold this water level, and this is a smaller vessel overall than the W60. So Keone says that I have a HARIO switch, origami, and April brewers, but lately my Cafec Deep 27 has been, oh, nice. You know, I've not tried the Cafec either. I'm actually one of those guys that's really bad at trying all these new devices. I need to refill the water. And actually, those of you guys that are using like those clevers and stuff like that, switches, that's really why I like it. Because here we can, you know, we're talking and I'm not, you know, I should be paying closer attention to the pouring rates because now we're 278, 330, we should be done, and 257, 330. So we're behind again. So I was talking earlier about Maybe I should have gone finer. Maybe I shouldn't go finer. Maybe I should just stop talking and pay attention to what we're doing. All right, we're going to go a little bit faster now. I have to catch up with this one. See, we're about 12 grams behind, milliliters behind. And as you can see, it is a different size, right? So the different size is going to have an effect on the way that the flow rate happens. $4.17. So we're definitely, I like to see a brew finish between 3:30 and 4 minutes. So I think that we're slow. All right, we're almost done here. A little bit more water. 350, good. 339. Yeah, I've been seeing like not articles but pictures of the Orea lately, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. All right, 350 now. We're at 457. And how is this done? Is this done? Yeah, that's pretty much done. Then we're just gonna wait for this to finish out. 457 for this one, the W60. And then now we'll see this is done at 520. So 23 seconds slower. So not too bad, right? Oops. Did I forget to do something? Oh, no, I don't know. Huh? Look at that. So we have 350 grams of coffee, or 350 milliliters. Let's have a look at that. Let's have a look here. All right, let's get rid of these. Turn that off. Turn that off. Put those on the side. We'll get our special glasses, our tasting glasses. All right. Then they look fairly the same, right? Don't they? Which one should we try first? Let's do the classic, the HARIO. Again, this is the W60, not the V60. But the V60 and W60 are very, very similar in design. The orifices at the bottom, I believe, are the same from what I recall. This finished at about 23 seconds. Well, maybe 23 seconds is a misnomer. Like, we started the brew, and then I started this brew. So maybe there's a couple seconds. So maybe like 19-second difference. This is finished in 19 seconds faster than this one. So what are we getting here? We're getting some bitterness on the cheeks, a little bit of brightness, some dark chocolate notes. Nice body, very clean. It's a very clean finish. All right, now let's try this with the origami. Oh, that brightness that I'm getting here on the cheeks, I mean, the bitterness on the cheeks, is more pronounced in the W60 brew right here than it is on this one. The body feels heavier. Definitely heavier, more rounded body. This is a little bit lighter, a little bit brighter. Now, this did take a little bit longer to brew, so we could get that body could come to that diminishment of the brightness in the W60 could be because it's a longer brew cycle, right? These are the things like we're just talking about, maybe 19 seconds, 15 seconds. That's a pretty big window of time. Could make a difference. I don't know. I'm kind of inclined to say that I like the brew from the Origami better. Now, is it transcendentally better? Is it, oh my gosh, there's a huge thing in my whole world of coffee has like come alive and like I have awoken to new and better things in the world and suddenly I want to go and help people around the planet and praise Jesus to all others. No, it's not like that. There is a difference. There is some difference, but I don't know if that difference is really because of the design of the brewer or aberrations in brewing. Like these are not equal brews, right? This brew, the Origami was slightly longer by 15 to 19 seconds. This one was faster than that. They both were over 4 minutes, like, 4 minutes something, and then 5 minutes, 20 seconds for this, right? So Mark's asking, would you say that the original Origami gives a cleaner cup than V60? Here's the thing. So in this case, no, 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 no. I would say this has a heavier body, a little more pronounced body, a little more roundness, richness to it. This is thinner, and that's not meant to be pejorative. It's thinner in comparison, but not thin per se. It's a cleaner. It's definitely cleaner. This is the cleaner cup between the two. But again, it goes back to like this could just be the fact that this is a shorter brew than this, and not necessarily because the Origami has or the Hario is a superior design. I'm really reticent to think that some of these are superior designs because they're pretty much doing all the same thing, right? Yeah, they have differences in the way that there's a vortex ribbing in the W60, and there's straight like geodesic or shape on the Origami. But does that really make a difference? I don't know. I've not tasted tremendous differences. Like if I was to compare this, let's say with the bee house, would it be that different? I mean, there might be some difference because this one has more restrictions, so it will extract more from the coffee. But between these two, I don't know. I don't know. I can't say that one would necessarily be superior than the other. I think where the question is, and the question with the original poster was, let me double check what he's saying again. So he has the V60 O2 size. He's enjoying it, and he's been thinking, I want to get an Origami. You know what? For me as a coffee person, my whole thing is always like I would like to see people not waste their money, spend money on good stuff and be happy and get great results, and that's good enough. But really the reality is that, and I know I mentioned this on the show before, but I was hanging out talking with, not hanging out, but we were like talking on the phone or something. We're chatting one day with Hoon from Hoon's Coffee, right? And I was like, what's with all these like gear stuff? He's like, we're guys, man. We want to tinker with gear. And I was like, all right, we want to tinker with gear. So if you're interested in Origami, right? Is it a better brew? It potentially can give you different results. Better, gosh, that's really the eye of the beholder. We're guys, so do you think Ana de Armas is the most beautiful woman in the world? Some people will, other people won't. Does that mean that it diminishes Ana de Armas's beauty? No. It's just what you like. And so if you're someone, you've got a V60 and you're like, oh, I wonder what this Origami is like. There's a lot of hype about it. I want to try it. Is it better? I think that the pitfall is to go into it being like, I'm going to buy this Origami and it's going to change my life because somebody on the internet said that it's awesome, that it's better than the V60. I can't say it's better than the V60. It's probably a little bit different. It's going to give you a little bit different results. But if it's not going to impact you financially in a bad way, and you really are interested, buy one, enjoy it, try it out, see what you think. It's not terribly expensive, right? And so, this is really for me like what I think how people should be thinking about it. Try it out. Is it going to be a transcendental experience? I don't think so. What's going to give you transcendental experiences is the type of coffee you're buying. So if you're buying Miscela de Oro and you're brewing it in this, it's going to taste like Miscela de Oro, maybe a little bit different. It's not going to be like you're jumping from Miscela de Oro to like whatever craziness Tim Wendelbo has, right? So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Like the Origami is a great brewer. The W60 and the V60s are great brewers. Especially the HARIO stuff, that's like long time tested. Hundreds and thousands of cups have been made in those things. Tens of thousands of cups have been made in these because it's just newer, I think. But yeah, I know that doesn't give you a definitive answer of what you should do, what you buy, but really, yeah, go buy it. Go try it. See if you like it. Or if you have friends, you can borrow one and play with it and see if you want to buy one for yourself. I think if you do that, you probably won't because you're like, well, it's not giving me a great difference. But it's not necessarily about whether or not the device is going to give you a great difference, but more about, are you enjoying the journey? Are you enjoying the exploration? Well, that's really the whole thing about coffee, I think. All right, that's pretty much it. Any other thoughts? Back again tomorrow with another question. What is our question for tomorrow? I don't know. It's somewhere. I'll have it posted, but it's not a death match like today, which wasn't so much a death match. But all right, so that's pretty much it for today. Thank you very much for tuning in, Mark. Hope things are good in Norwich, and who's on the Q&A? Hope things are good in Bangkok. Yeah, Mom, always good to see you from Westchester. And the rest of you guys, thanks for tuning in. And if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for future videos, leave them in the comments below, especially on the replay. And we're back in tomorrow, 10 a.m. See you then.